Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to TalkSports. It is our Saturday sports program as we get ready to wind down the year 2024, and we also looking forward to 2025. My co-host Rudian Silvan is already standing by. Good, let me say, good morning to Rudian as we wait on our guest, Mr. George Goatie Robinson. He is getting ready to come on. Hopefully, he gets on. But Rudian, welcome, and
Good morning. Good morning.
It's a pleasure having you as well.
It certainly is. And being in this cool part of the country, it is very cold for the past 2 days, past 3 days actually. But we give God the praise in spite of it all, certainly.
Yes,
And to your
certainly.
listeners, I know we are in the season of a celebration. Season greetings to all.
Right. Certainly. And it gives us a time most to reflect as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
some form of reflection, at least,
Yes.
and
Yes.
anticipate for
Yeah.
2025.
And certainly it has been a successful year, I must say. Not only in sports, but just for as Grenadians, celebrating our 50-year independent and that celebration and everything that comes with it. See the 100 years of football and 100 years of athletics. Certainly, put us in a different bracket. In sports as well. So it was a great year for Grenada, and I believe 2025 will be even greater.
Yeah, 2024 was a very eventful year. It was a very well, I say eventful and historic because, as you say, it marked our
Yes.
50th year of independence. It's also marked
Yes.
100-year centennial for both football and
And yeah.
athletics,
Yes.
and
Yes.
hopefully, it's the start of a new what will you say? A new generation, we'll say, at
Yes.
least.
Yes. Yes. Certainly. Certainly. There's a
Because
lot of great things. It's
I'm
such
not certain.
amazing year.
I'm not
Yeah.
certain if folks like you and I will be around for another 100 years.
No. No. We'll be watching from the sky. But certainly that wouldn't happen. And also we also had to give praise to the Olympics Association for getting some of the Olympians home and getting them pinned with the Olympic pin. That also was
Yeah,
something that was, I didn't get my pin yet, but certainly mine will surely come in due time. But it was a success. So there's so much happening in this year. And we're looking for more in 2025 and names where we haven't heard about. We're hoping to hear about them. Names that have been at the border to be announced, is right there, and things to happen. There's so many things we hear that's happening that we're looking forward to it in
yeah,
2025.
certainly. And I say use the opportunity to say good morning to some of our good friends who have been around with us for
Yes.
Edwin, Sam,
Doing Sam's season greetings to you too.
many happy returns as well. You know, well, I think Gotti is saying that he's having a little problem getting on. I don't know if he will be able to. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully he's working on it. He should be on. Hoping that he should be on. Even though we have some questions already being posted for Mr. Robinson to answer. You know? Yeah, I saw at least two questions already. Um, say say that posting the question very early. So we hope at least he'll be able to come on. But while we give him a couple more minutes there to get on, I'm hoping that he will be on, Rudy, and certainly there's some optimism, and not
Yeah.
just in track and field. Yes, we are
No.
getting
Yes.
we have
Yes.
the hype for track and field, but we have seen some improvements in some of the other non-traditional sports, I would say. Okay,
Yes.
like we
Yes.
saw, for example, chess. Some
Chess.
of
Yes. 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 Yes.
and all these sort of things.
Yeah.
And things like that. So certainly, yeah. Gordon Bodie, yes, good morning to you, and
Morning, sir.
what say you? Season greetings as well.
Season
Certainly,
greetings. Season greetings.
yeah, and then we'll certainly have the time in probably next weekend to do a full wrap on 2024. And
Yes.
some of our campaign seasoners will certainly give us some of their highs and lows,
Yeah.
and who they think are deserving of our sports personality for 2024. I mean, whether it's Edwin Sam or Roger Duncan or Chenny or whoever it is, think about it and you let us know who you think our top sports personalities for 2024.
24. Yeah.
Yeah. And we, whether it's we look at like the clubs, teams, because we have difference between clubs and teams. Male sports personality, female sports personality. We probably do a junior as well. Okay. Association. What's about the association of the year? What you think? Who you think deserving to be the association of the year? Administrator of the year. Think about it, folks. You know, yeah, think about it. And you have been following sports, folks. You are the ones who have been following the sport. So you should be able to give us an idea of who you think are our top sports personality. Normally,
school for the year.
we used to do.
We show this year.
Yeah,
because of problems there. Yeah.
We used to do our own thing. Now we're giving you the
Yeah.
opportunity to make your determination.
To make your determination.
I like the idea of even the school of the year, right?
Yeah,
School
most improved, most improved school. Like we see some schools that's stepping up, and we see some things. I have one in mind that I think it's lock and steel. But suddenly, surely, and a lot happened across the Caribbean island, across the OCS as well. We've seen the success in the Olympic Games, success in a lot of sporting events. We've seen the rise of St. Vincent in what they're doing with the youths and getting involved in sports, and you see the netball program and certain things. So there's a lot happening, man. We love to see sports, across the globe. I know Trinidad is certainly getting ready for the Caribbean Games because they are hosting, but not only getting ready, they want to win. So they certainly want to win. So they definitely, will be putting some things in place, and all of that, is going to be excited. Really looking forward to 2025. Certainly.
Yeah, and we're hoping that I think Grenada may be hosting, for example, the OECS netball tournament, from what I heard.
Yes.
And then we also have the sports councils. Well, Paris Sports Council.
The Paris Sports Council that was going to be up and running.
Yeah, up and running.
Should be already, but we'll know. Hopefully, they will just move with a flash movement in January. Come January, hopefully, they can start the year with a blast. And it's also good to see. We talk about seeing McDonald College is also having the Neville Glenn Invitational. That also is a plus. Hopefully, more schools can honor some of the past, principals or sports administration that they can honor them. Most schools can do that by hosting a games. It doesn't have to be athletics; could be anything. It could be a football game. It could be a netball game, basketball, anything. So
and I know we had a discussion about that. I wanted to elaborate more on that while I go backstage to fix up Mr. Robinson. But I'm hoping that in going forward, a Neville Glenn meet could be staged in St. Patrick.
In St. Patrick.
That's my view about it going forward. Because Neville, not just because he's from St. Patrick, but I think most of his charges come from St. Patrick, and it will do justice to the cause. More people will come out to support. Whether it's primary schools, secondary schools, whatever, he has a sort of linkage with them there. And I think bringing it to the stadium is a bit a stretch. I mean, yes, I would like it to be at that level, but at the same time, to have that kind of community outreach in itself, I would like to see it in the parish of St. Patrick. You can elaborate as someone from St. Patrick, Rudian.
No, certainly. I think that would be something good for Mr. Glenn for what he has done in St. Patrick's. I think the idea that games like this coming together, the full recreation ground certainly would be a place to have it. And all the success that he has had at the same grounds, it will certainly be something we would like to see happen. Surely, so hopefully by next year, the games can be at the full recreation ground, getting some elementary schools involved, have certain events for them, but also making that suddenly an annual thing, moving forward. But really, really excited for that. Mr. Glenn, well deserved that, and for all the accomplishment that he has done over the years for athletics. Certainly, he coached me as well, so certainly, I am honored, to see that games happen. So surely, let's try and get it done, Mr. Ando. If you're listening, in the next year or so, we could get these games continue on at the Fall Recreation Ground, which is home soil, Mr. Glenn. So I think he'll be justice to him for that, and give him his flowers, like we said, while he's still alive. Certainly is something will be certainly honorable for that.
Yeah, that's yeah. All right, so Mr. Robinson should be on. He should be entering the studio shortly. Hopefully, he gets everything organized. But yes, certainly, Rudian, that would be a good honor for Mr. Glean and for the folks of St. Patrick. Okay, having it something in the parish. But as we say, and hoping to that the grounds will be organized. We'll have,
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm a bit
Optimistic about a lot
shaken,
of things.
but no,
Yeah,
I'm
I
a bit
am.
shaken about some
Yeah,
of the maintenance of some of the grounds, because
yeah.
we heard about St. Patrick at the
But
full
the
recreation
others,
ground, but
yeah,
then we recently heard about Tantine, for
yeah,
example,
canteen,
and the
yeah,
condition. Then we saw the Wagiti tournament at the stadium, at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium, and the
yeah.
condition of the field.
Condition of the field,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
something has to
It's
be
not
done in terms of the maintenance of our
of the
major
field, major
pavements
field.
in
Yes,
Grenada, right?
yeah.
It's yeah, it's atrocious. Thank you very much, Shenny. Yes, and we also would like to extend condolences to the Depredines, the family, especially Toro and his brother Clev Depredine, very ardent listeners to our program. They lost their mom during the week. Miss Chrissy died at the age of 95. Okay, she back that's a long innings for a lot. Okay,
It is. Yeah.
and we on behalf of Talk Sports, so Saturday Sports Special, Rudin and I would like to extend condolences to Clev, Lincoln, and the rest of the
Yes.
family, Cecil
Yes.
and Jeffrey, and all those others. Please accept our condolences on the loss of your matriarch, Miss Chrissy. Okay, thank you very much, Edwin and Gordon and Chenny. And as we await for
Uh, yeah, and I know we're still waiting, but it's certainly, Michael, to see um, sports policy up and running. I think it's time. I know there's things going, but we don't want to push it, and then it don't come out the way it's supposed to. We want it to be proper. We want it to be correct. We want it to be right. We want it to be on point. However, I think it's time. I just think it's time. I think it's time to get it going. Put it out there. Let the athletes know what benefit there is for them. Let the athletes know what they're working, especially going into 2025, saying this is what is in it. There's some incentive for athletes. It makes them work harder. It make them really put in the work. So some of this incentive can go to them. And I think it is time to lay it down.
yeah,
I
well,
certainly think. I know there's a process,
yeah.
but
I'm glad you
it's yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad you mentioned that, because I was contemplating on probably for our first program in 2025 to deal with that issue.
To get some
Yeah,
details. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then we'll the after the reading of the budget, we'll go with the minister of sport, to get an idea. We'll probably wait for the budget,
Yeah, yeah,
in
to go
terms of,
first. Yeah,
the
yeah.
budgetary allocations and all these things to go regarding the minister. But I think it's probably a good idea to have, because the framework for the sports policy and all of that is already laid out, right?
So you
So
know, yeah.
it's something we can deal with probably in early 2025, so that the the sports fans, the organizations, everyone can have an idea of what is the thinking behind, with regarding the sports policy, its full implementation, whether it's a phase and rollouts, all these sort of things. And then get a little updates from some of those councils, parish sports councils. What they're doing since their launch? What have they been doing?
Or what the plans are.
What your plan? What you have done so far. You can't be just meeting, but you should have things. And as you said, what are some of your plans for 2025? So folks should have an idea what to expect from the St. Andrews Sports Council, or the one in Carriacou and PD Martinique, or whether it's the St. David Sports Council. What are some of the plans that we can look forward to?
Because I believe, and I also believe that they should also tie in with the schools, and a lot of schools are getting things happen. If it's not football or netball or even now athletics, they should tie in with some of the schools and give them a hand wherever it's needed. Especially with officials and other things like that. And I think it's something that definitely looking forward to see and to hear from them and what's happening.
Yeah. Well, yes. Certainly that's one. And then we know that we'll be going towards the Intercol 2025. We heard from two principals already. Well, I should say one principal and an athletics coach and an official from the Ministry of Sports that 2025 Intercol should be a very competitive Intercol from what they have seen and things like that. So, right? That's
and another thing, Michael, like even for athletics, there is a new relay. It is time for us to start thinking about that too. There is new things happening.
Oh, you mean in the World Relays?
World Relay, there is a new relay. It is time for us to give. Now there is way more opportunity for us to have two mixed relay team. There is different things happening now in sports. So it is, and all of this stuff.
While you're on that, and talking about the relay, and I know what you're saying there now. So don't you think it's also an opportunity, especially based on what Kirani said in the interview we had with him a few months ago? Well, about 2-3 months ago, that it's an opportune time to get those guys together and at least have a relay team. It's probably our best bet in probably medaling.
But also, here's my question to you, and maybe for some of the listeners. I want to put that question out there to them. In a mixed relay, is it fair how the layout is that you put your athlete wherever they want to put them? I personally will say I would like to see females with females and males with males. But what do you guys think?
Well, I would like for others to determine, but I guess as much they have some countries, some teams that are very skilled in placing their athletes, knowing where to place their athletes. I look at Japan, for example. Japan is very strategic.
And China.
Yeah, they are very strategic. It appears that they probably use science or artificial intelligence or something like that. So
to know where to put who.
They are very strategic, barring sometimes, batter or whatever, batter falling or whatever it is. So they seem to be very strategic. And mind you realize they're always in the mix.
Always.
Right? And I've seen some European, like the Dutch, the Netherlands,
India. India's that's stepping up now.
They tend to be. So I think it comes down to being very strategic, right?
Yeah.
Chenny is saying now that most of the better teams will start and end with males, which tend to be the stronger. So, but which is what
we were just saying, Chenny, which is something.
But hold on, let's say, Rudian, you are Canada, Chenny is Grenada, Edwin is USA, right? And for some reason, you have to make known of where your do you think it's advantages or disadvantage to allow other teams to know where you are placing your strong athletes, where you
That's
are
correct.
placing your athletes? Do you think do you think it is and there's an advantage or disadvantage for teams to know where you are placing your strong athletes? So for example, if for the USA, for example, I know that Grenada is putting Kirani James on the third leg, or they put in Kirani, let's say, on the second leg in a 4x4. Who should I put there? You know, these sort of things. Do you think knowing where those athletes are for the various teams there's an advantage or a disadvantage?
I think teams should know other teams' plan.
They should not, right?
They
That's
should
what you
not
mean.
know.
Okay, that's what you
Yeah,
mean.
I think they should know. That's one part of it based on your analogy. And the
Uh-huh.
second part of it, I think female and female should run together. I think there's such a big disadvantage
When you have a
um,
male and a female
when you
competing,
have a female because we
but
know that
it
in
boils
a
down to
400, for
strategy.
example, you have you might have a 400-meter runner that can run a 44 point, and then you have a you know a 400-meter female that can go a 49. That's a big gap because that they could run them down. So I just think female and female should be together, and male and male should be together to make it a fair race, or fair run. However, come back to what you're saying. I think no team should know the strategy of who plays where and where should be a surprise to everybody. Nobody know who going, because then, like I said, it's a strategy. They know who to put where and where to put who, and if other teams don't know that, then it's all a surprise.
Shelly saying, I like the element of surprise, though it makes the race more thrilling. But
Yeah.
remember, despite what, you have 2 female athletes and 2 male athletes. So despite,
The balance, it's even out anyhow you look at it, right?
it's not that you have 3 male and 1 female for one team, and then you have,
Yeah.
I think the current policy works according to Edwin. It's up to the coaches to use their strategy. It's the same strategy that you use to determine which leg you put your athletes in all male or female races. Yeah. So
true.
This is true in the sense that, okay, you determine where you put which athlete will start, which athlete will end, and vice versa in terms of the second and third leg. I agree that it's now up to your team, coaches, whoever, to come up with a strategy of how best to use your runners, your athletes in a relay. Yeah, the 4x4 may be a little, touchy. I mean, now that they're bringing in the sprint relays, having a mixed 4x1,
4x1, yeah,
a mixed 4x1. This to me could be very rare, because it means therefore that you have to have your fastest. Because in a 4x4, it could be,
strategy. It is strategy.
A
4x1, it's speed. However, we've seen it, and I remember, is it Seoul 82? I remember seeing the 4 fastest men in America, and in the end, there was no baton. In the end, it's still about the baton. It's not about the athletes. So it doesn't matter if you are 4 slow people. In the end, it's all about the baton. The 4x1 is about the baton. So if the baton don't get around the track, then you have a problem, because now you have a disadvantage where a female now have to hand up to a male, or a male have to hand up to a female. They could run up on them based on speed, or the person could run out and leave them. So there's that balance there, but it will be fun to see. And training do make a difference. But what I like most about it gives countries the opportunity to have other athletes. It will give athletes the opportunity to make a national team, or to get to run. In when they don't have the chance to run in an open 4x1, because they won't be able to make it. But it gives athletes the opportunity to continue with track and field. Certainly. And more events you put on do make a difference. So we see this now. The next thing we're going to see is maybe a 4x2, or a mixed 4x2. They might just have a 4x2 is the next race they're going to put on. So now you have a 4x1, a 4x2, and a 4x4. So anyhow you look at it, it's this continuous by adding other events on, and I'm pretty sure that if you on one team, you cannot be on the other team. I'm pretty sure the rules will be the same as the 4x1, just as it is as the 4x4.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. As it relates to football, you always say soccer. Certainly, and my good friend Chenny is over on the other side there, and certainly there's hope, there's optimism that we'll see an improvement in our senior male ranking. The women, they have been doing pretty well of late. However, they have not been playing as many international games as before, so their rankings would fall. The hope is that our team, not just in competition, but through the FIFA window, can play international games. However, if your rankings are that low, it's very rare you will get, good teams, as you will say, to play, right?
Yeah.
But
as the FIFA extended,
Montserrat and Tox and
yeah. But as FIFA extended the numbers or countries for the next World Cup, is the women the same as well?
No, I'm not sure about it. Sorry, I can't say for the women. No, I wish I could have seen what it is.
Yeah, because the men went to what, 48 countries, which is quite a jump from 32. But I don't know if the women.
Yeah, that's the thing about it.
So, and do you know if we ever know what the strategy will going forward for Cricket Olympics? Do we hear anything of what that's going to look like? I mean,
no. Well, they have, both the ICC and the IOC, they have not given out that full details as yet. I know the concern to will be how, as it relates to the West Indies, for example, because remember the West Indies cannot compete in the as a team. You'll have to have individual nations, but we have not had any clear indication as to how they will go about doing that for 2028. Hopefully, and certainly that is something that will come in short order. And I'm certain that they will have some sort of process to select from probably the Caribbean region who will be,
in that region,
the likes of the Barbados and Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, all these islands will want to, have a
say.
Yeah, they'll want to have a stake in that. They will want to go to the Olympics with a team.
And that is also for
the United States as host will obviously be they will have their team. Yeah,
they will have a team. Yeah,
they will have the team as hosts of the Olympics.
But I'll also extend the budget for the Olympic now, because now it's no cricket fall under them as well.
But it once it becomes an Olympic sport.
Sports will fall under them.
Remember that there are some sports that got a cut. Remember. So while cricket is in, there are others that fell through. So there's a sort of balance in terms in some way or the other. And then remember, they have already taken the decision in some instances where you cut down the numbers, right? In terms of the officials, the participants, etc., etc. They have been streamlining a bit. By the way, France, by the way, have reported Paris 20. They have reported a surplus in terms of the hosting of the Paris Olympic Games. There was a surplus. So there was a profit from hosting
the games. Yeah.
Right. Chenny says that FIFA basically has increased the women's from 24 to 32 in 2019 and are looking at expanding to 48. No decision made public as yet. 48. Okay. Wow.
But 48 is what the men have right now, right? So
And by the way, it. You see the Gulf regions they're doing pretty well. Saudi Arabia,
Yeah,
Qatar, they are big in sports now. They're doing something that
huge,
yeah.
huge.
I think in the Caribbean, we have to start speaking to them in terms
Yeah,
of
we
what
we,
it
we,
is.
we gotta get,
I mean, yes,
we have to.
they have the resources and things like that. So, but somehow, when you look at most of the international tournaments, they seem to be attracted to these places. Saudi
To
Arabia and
these
Qatar in
places. Yeah,
particular. Neutral. In some instances, they consider to be neutral regions. But when you look at that, whether it's an international tennis tournament, an international cricket tournament, whatever it is, you go to either Saudi
it's
Arabia
huge.
or,
It's huge now. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
it's smart, and like we say in business, money talk, right? And when countries have the money and some of these billionaires or trillionaires, whichever they are, in this part of the region, when they certainly, it's also good, to see that sports is now broadening and widening the horizon, with teams and countries getting involved and athletes getting paid, and that's certainly something we talk about is the pay the athletes now. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes, right? So it's it's a difference than how it was in the olden days. Suddenly a different, right? So it always remind me of West Indies players when they went to some of the players went to South Africa, and then some of them was banned for life, and look at today, guys going where the money is, right? So, in spite of what's
well,
happening in that part of the world, it's money talk. So it's like I said, that difference now in time. So certainly if the athletes, they deserve to be paid, no different from seeing the NBA players making millions of dollars, NFL players, and you see football players. We've seen it. They're making million. Listen, one player could be sold for 50 million pounds, and that's not his money. They're selling him. You know what I mean? So pay the players.
remember, only this week we had the baseball player with over $700 million,
Yeah,
right?
and I saw that, right?
Yeah.
So
All right,
they have
Roger.
the money.
Good afternoon to you, Roger. Say I'm listening while I'm boiling ham and stones on the stones of the night. Wow, that's an early ham
It's
boy.
only ham boy. You sure the ham go ready
Well,
into it?
don't blame us if
Ham?
someone pass and steal the ham,
Yeah,
right?
someone pass the ham
Because
on them. They might
they
go with the
might go,
pot too,
they might go in the pot, right? Guess what? You
Even the
all
fire, even the fire too.
even though you're listening, keep an eye on the pot
Keep our
because
eyes, yes.
keep an eye on the pot because this is the time of the year that somebody might pass, and as you say,
Somebody might pass by.
they go not just with the pot, but they will go with the fire as well, right?
They are going to one. So keep one eye on the pot, one eye on the show.
Yeah. Chelly says, I have made a claim for FIFA to introduce a minerals tournament for the bottom 100 teams in their various rankings, and the top 24 can play on a final tournament. It may sound ambitious, but I do believe it's worth considering. Chenny,
Certainly. I like that, Chelly. Yeah.
yeah, Chenny, one of the things that came out of the program with you last week is that wish that some of those ideas that Chenny come up with can really put Chenny, I hope you're really documenting some of these things because you think a lot and they may claim that you're very ambitious, but if you put those things and you may not be the one to drive it. But I'm certain there are people who may be able to say, hey, Chenny, I like this idea.
I like
Let's
this idea.
work on it,
Mm-hmm.
let's see how we can work on it. I'll get back to Chenny in a while. I'm just seeing something so that Mr. Robinson say regrets to your audience and listeners for not getting on to share. Sincere apologies. So it seems as if he's still having problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, but let's get back to that point, Chenny, because you have made so many deliberations, and coming from last week's program again, a lot of things came out of that. And folks, if you did not hear it, you should. I am wondering, Chenny, whether or not you put those things, you document those things. You put them in something that they can be acted upon. can be acted upon, I should say, right? So, for example, in last week's program, Roger made reference to the sports bar, the TalkSports sports bar, the TalkSports bar. And Mike, I'm anxious to see the opening of the TalkSports sports bar, right? No, but these are things that, folks, you can check on. And I'm hoping, Chenny, that some of these things are things that you can really get someone, if you don't have the time, to act on. Because this, to me, is a very good idea, okay? Having a tournament for the
bottom
100 teams in the nearest ranking. And for some reason, they can be, through that tournament, they can get into, I'm hoping that's the idea you're raising, Chenny, that it's not something that you just stay within the one, but you have an opportunity to move out of the bottom 100, I should say.
Right? Oh, your ranking you get move up in points. You get points from that.
Oh, yeah, you get points from something like that. So,
yeah,
right. Because it's almost like when you in a position like that, you banish, right? You are considered a weakling. And for some reason, it may be just because you have not been playing. So, for example, the Grenada team, women's team, is a very competitive team. But because they have not been playing, they have been dropping in the rankings.
Yeah.
But I'm certain if they had continued playing and playing and playing, the results might have been mixed, though, whether it's win, loss,
draw. Yep.
Yeah. But it would have been some level of
activity
for the ranking. So it's not a true the ranking sometimes, and the low ranking sometimes, not a true reflection of the capability or the strength of the team, right? It's just that some of them are not being playing, right? You are correct to advance to the top level. It's like an A and B division in football. I'm working on my biography, and some of those may be included. Why some of this may be included? Shouldn't they be included? But certainly it's a nice idea, and it's something that I think you should, put pen and paper together.
But I like that. That's one of the things I like with Chenny. I like his ball move, and even when he speak about certain things, I really,
By the way,
I really like that Chenny.
He has gotten into problems for that.
I certainly know, but he's not wrong. The problem is though, is those who you get in trouble with is people that don't like the idea that he's speaking it before they did.
Well,
that's what I think it is.
No, it's not just speaking. Chenny is branded as being too ambitious, and I don't see anything wrong in being ambitious.
Yeah.
Right? Ambitious to me is it's for some folks could be just because how they view that person. That person is doing a little more. Is thinking a little more. Is thinking outside of the box. And there's nothing wrong in that.
Yeah.
Being at a meeting, for example, and you just sit there and you listen. And I have attended meetings where people have done this before. They have just sat and listened, nothing to contribute. But then they will still say that someone else is too ambitious or ambitious. But you have the opportunity to make an input. You have an opportunity to say something.
Yeah.
But because I am saying it or this person is saying it, you're branded as being ambitious. I don't think everyone should be the same as you. If you don't want to make a contribution, in fact, the reason you are a member of that committee or executive or whatever is because they believe you can make a contribution. And it has to be a collective. It has to be collective. We sit together, we discuss, we come up with ideas, we bounce around things, we make, various contributions. You can't just be sitting back and then branding someone as being ambitious. And that's the problem, right? And that's what Chenny has fallen out of grace with some people, because he tend to be the one who will say, hey guys, let's do this, or I'm suggesting this, or I recommending this, and while others are sitting back. Okay. Certainly,
but a lot of things today, Michael, come from that bold move that people make, right? And we may not like it sometimes, but people make things that we flow it to them, and we say, man, actually it was a good idea. So a lot of things. I think that mixed stuff have been around for many years. Somebody had that idea for many years in terms concerning the relays, right? I think it's been around. They say let them test it out in the four by four. Now they're saying this they see the move. Okay, the 4x4 is working. Let us test the 4x1. So I think these are bold moves because this is extending the budget for a lot of countries now to add in another team if they have teams. So that's bold moves, right? So certainly a lot of things that people have done, rules that have changed, is bold moves. Things that they have done, they make bold moves that it happened. Look at the NBA. Somebody make a bold move that there's a championship in a championship with the NBA. So it's a bold move. So sometimes those things have to be done. So Chenny, continue, do what you're doing, man. Certainly.
I have no apologies for my your ambitions in that way. Some are mechanics, doctors, and lawyers, while others offer ideas. The GFA refused the Wagiti, and watch date has been 14 years of success. So what Chenny is basically saying is that initially the Wagiti tournament was something
should have time to GFA.
That was actually proposed for the GFA. I don't know if Wagiti himself that proposed it to the GFA, and look what it is now today.
But that's all. But that's all. You see what I'm saying? A championship in a championship. The NBA did it, and that could have been that's what that was, right? A championship in a championship, right?
And then again, I mean, you see how the word ambitious and with ambition can be interpreted, right?
Yeah,
and that's it. Being a bit too ambitious or being ambitious
because
being ambitious, and this is what it is now. So folks, so once again, an apology from Mr. Robinson, who's having problems getting into the studio, because when I made contact with him, I was actually hearing the program, which means that he's receiving the program, but it was just entering the program. It's sort of strange because Mr. Robinson was the guest on our program before, so I don't know the problem he's having. Even though Chetty has jokingly said that whether or not he had received an injunction, that's just a joke from Chetty, that's just a joke thing. But I'm laughing because I know how some people interpret that as, whether or not you received an injunction. But no, that's not the case. But on a serious note regarding the being ambitious, I would like to see more folks with that sort of ideas, open with ideas and things like some of what Chenny has been sharing with us from time to time, and we have had others like whether it was Roger, for example, came up with the idea of the sports bar, the sort of thing. Edward Sam from time to time will share ideas. But that's how there's nothing wrong in doing that, right? And I think what our administrators have to do, they need to be receptive. What we have once folks become administrators, they have this know-it-all. They have this block in terms of who they should talk to, who they should listen to, and all these sort of things. My thing is that what makes you this sort of changed person all of a sudden? The moment time you become the president or the vice president of an association, that you just change altogether. You're the person who was saying that you're here for the association, you're here for the constituents, you're here for the footballers, the cricketers,
here for the people, here for the people.
Yeah, blah blah blah. Everything you put everything in it, and as soon as you get in there, that's it.
Ma'am.
Yeah,
it's a meeting.
Yeah. Here's another. Well, Roger is using the word bold, but it's an ambitious move. I know you're trying to get away from the word ambitious, right? Here's a move. Friday night boxing mania and an after work Friday night line. Well, we used to have the boxing mania before. This used to be every Friday night. And to be honest with you, you can't really have boxers fighting every Friday night, right?
Every Friday night,
You they have a period of recovery. But that could be probably every a Friday night, once a month. Every month you have, and it could be
Yeah.
different boxes, I'm sure, because for various reasons, right? If a man gets a knockout, for example, I'm just using that. They have a period of recovery and
Recovery. Yeah.
observation and all these sort of things, right? But that's another good idea. Friday night Boxermania, a sort of after work Friday night line. That's something the Boxing Association can pick up and probably deliver. So you see, ideas are floating around, right? Guys, let's discuss Rogers sports bar idea. I think it's a no-brainer. Also, let's reflect on Grenada's successes and failures in sports in 2024. We're hoping to use our program next week. No guests on
Next
our
week to do
program.
that. Yeah.
Next week, God's willing, no guests on our program to discuss all of that, Chenny. That will be the program itself. On Saturday, the 21st, we'll be looking at the highs and lows of sports in Grenada in 2024 and our projection for 2025. We'll also be, hopefully, folks will be able to, throw up some ideas of who they think are our top sports personalities for 2024, including administrators, sportsmen and sportswomen, schools, clubs, associations, just name it. This is something we will be able to get. So that's what we'll try. Basically, with the absence of Mr. Robinson today, we will just throw in some ideas and probably putting something together for our final program for 2024. But yeah, it will be our final program because that's the weekend before the Christmas, where we wish everyone, season's greetings, happy Christmas, whatever it is, and look forward to 2025 when we return. Okay. By the way, I was just looking there, and the last time we had actually Mr. Robinson, our program was actually in 2021. It's a long time. 2021. Do you guys know the sport foot golf? It's one I want to see here in Grenada. Foot golf. Give us some more idea. Give us some more information, Chenny. Yeah.
I would like to also see something in volleyball in school, something different. What we have, we don't have much court as we like, but volleyball on grass, volleyball.
But Rudian, as far as I'm concerned, you can play
Anyway,
volleyball anywhere.
Anyway, grass.
Anywhere.
Listen, you open a field where you have, 6, 7, because the volleyball, area is not as big, and you could have tournament after tournament after tournament in volleyball. You could have mix, you could have, so many different things you can do, and expand the sport in volleyball, especially in the schools. Do it from elementary schools. Do it from, expand the sport in volleyball. It's a sport that successful for Grenada in the OECS, but not successful in the schools or in clubs or in just not successful at all. No, we can even go beach volleyball. There's so much we can do, and that is not there. And come back again, expanding, hoping that ideas, here we're talking about ideas of small goal. You could, on a one soccer field, you could have 3, 4 fields, soccer games, small, 3-man, small goals going on, 10-minute game. And we got to find ways, and that goes for the parish councils, to have those type of things happening within your parishes to expand sports and to keep sports going. 3-man team or 4-man team or, one sub, 10-minute game. And that will keep sport. Look up, every parish have a beach volleyball tournament, and that's some of the sports that is really lagging. We should be able to start picking it up. I think we should start picking it back up, and we have the fields to do it. We have the weather to get it done. We have everything that some countries is, wishing they have.
Well,
right? And they are successful in the sport, and they don't have
that's
the weather that we have.
well. Um, Chenny has been speaking about this foot, what do you call it, foot golf.
Foot
And
golf, yeah,
I made a quick check on that, and it seems to be an interesting thing that folks can look for, because there's actually a couple foot golf. They call it couple foot golfers, right? Here it is. It's
yeah,
couples, you know,
yeah.
using
The foot,
yeah. The only
yeah.
problem, Chenny, is that we don't have that many courses. I don't know how we'll be able,
Courses,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
golf
yeah, yeah,
courses and things like that. So,
yeah,
and those that we do have already used for golf, you know.
yeah.
So except so some Chenny wants to use his private acres, you know, yeah, his private acres of land to lend us for
Oh,
that, something like that.
listen, Michael, there's so much that can be done if they, like even with schools for games and elementary school, foot baseball. You have you have the you, somebody roll the ball, you kick it, and then you run to the base.
Mm.
And then if they catch it, you out. Like so much
Uh,
things that can
Yeah,
be
as you said, that
implemented.
it's something we spoke about regarding non-traditional sports, but that we can
Non-traditional,
get
yeah,
people involved. For
involved,
example,
yeah.
somebody suggesting, hey, good afternoon to you, Nayo. I think Nayo. Are you in Canada? I just want to make sure, because I said the US the last time, and you told me I think he was in Canada. But a master's track and field in Grenada.
Yeah.
A master,
Well,
for example,
let me expand on that.
yeah.
I've been coaching a masters for long jump right now. He's 70. He's 69. So he's in the 69 category. Next year he's going to the 70 category, and he's getting ready for the World Indoor Masters in Gainesville, in Florida, in February or in March, sometime there, right? And I've been coaching him for long jump. He also, and as I'm coaching him, and he's also coaching two athletes from one of the South American countries, who they are in the 45 range, where they also is running in the masters under the category, and he's coaching them as well.
So
So
Niles is in
yes,
Canada. Yeah.
he's in Canada. So yes,
Yeah.
I've seen it, because I'm right there. And that athlete that I'm talking about, he's actually competing for Jamaica, even though he's here in Canada, even though he's been on many Canadian national team, fully
Yeah.
sponsored by Jamaica,
But
fully controlled with budget, the whole 9 yards. They fly him everywhere he needs to go, every meeting he needs to go to,
yeah,
100%.
and you see, that is the problem we have in sports in Grenada. That once you leave school, it's very unlikely that you take on sports at another, probably except for football. But when we look
Yeah,
at even some of the football teams, a lot of the players are actually schoolboys. A lot of the players,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then the others who play are just guys who play in, as they say, fast sweat, right? But when you look at that, the non-traditional sport, we can have so many of things that can be done that can involve the participation of so many other people. For example,
People, yeah.
we had masters football that comes on. Do we have a masters cricket tournament? Not so sure about that. But masters track and field, for example, what's about all
Yeah.
these folks that compete at in the 20s, the early 20s, and by the time they hit 30 something, that's it for
They're
them in
done.
terms of, that's it for them in
They're
Grenada.
done. Yeah.
So now that's a good idea in terms of the
Yeah. And we
masters.
don't have much. If you look at in terms of masters and the age, the oldest that I know of, and if you know of anybody else who maybe still running or maybe retired, well, not retired because we didn't hear she mentioned it, was Sheldon Fraser.
Mm.
She's the only one that is up in that age, still competing. We look at basketball. LeBron is about almost 40. He's still competing. Now, I know Masters started what? I think 38, 40, something like that. I don't know exactly where the age range start from. We don't have much of these athletes like a Shelley and Fraser that going around at 10 points, compared to others who maybe 11 and 12 times those type of things, right? So certainly, it's something that they need to push, even for the elderlies. You ever heard of Bachi?
Mhm. Yeah.
You ever heard? Yeah, bocce, and that's
Mhm.
an giving the elderlies action activities to do, yeah, because it's on grass. The grass doesn't have to be smooth and everything, but it's on grass. You throw the white ball and the person close to it. So it's like there's so much, man, that can be done to stay active,
Remember,
to
remember
expand
even
sports. Yeah,
even the sports policy speaks about, in fact, the sports policy is actually called the National Policy on Sports and Physical Education, right?
education. Yeah,
So it has to do a lot with that physical
yeah,
activity and things like that. So, and it's not just the competitive sports, right?
yeah,
But the involvement of others in sporting events, right?
yeah.
Competitive or recreational, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I was in a Zoom meeting this week with two professors and a few people from Grenada, including Mr. Cloudin, and somebody mentioned about getting exercise. You're in the Catholic Church and you're doing the rosaries. You could do the rosary by doing some laps around the church. It's part of exercise and still doing your rosary. So there's a lot of ways that things can be done. Sometimes you don't really have to start at 35. You don't have to sit down all the time to get something done. You can do it by being active.
mhm. So
You can do it by being active.
I
So
said master start at 35.
35, yeah.
Roger says, I'm seeing handball in Olympics.
Yeah.
How hard can it be for Grenada to pick a handball team? Seems like a very easy sport. Or help me understand what required to be represented in the Olympics at various disciplines and who are supposed to be the drivers behind this. You know, um, again, um, in some instances, you need to have a recognized federation, recognized by the IOC one,
I
that's
see. Yeah.
the sporting
Yeah.
discipline must be
Discipline. Yeah.
recognized, and then by the local committee. That's in this case like the Grenada Olympic Committee. They have to recognize this sport, right? Um, and they cannot determine
Just
that
do
they
it.
cannot
Yeah.
recognize the sport if it is a recognized Olympic sport. Handball is an Olympic sport. If we have
Yeah.
a handball federation in Grenada, duly elected, constituted, whatever it is, then by virtue they have to recognize the handball
Table tennis.
association, right?
Table tennis. And we do play table tennis home.
Yeah. So, but
But it did.
he was
Yeah.
looking at the simplicity of something
Simplicity
like
of
handball.
certain things like handball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
certain things like handball. And I'm saying that we tend to put a lot of resources and emphasis and and attention to our traditional sports as track and field and to the football and to the cricket and such, and even to netball and things. And we forgetting there are lots of other sports. When you go and you look at the Olympic schedule and you look at all these
All
sports,
the sports that is
yeah,
required
the
or that
disciplines,
they have, the
some
disciplines.
of
Yeah.
them, yeah, some of them that they even cut. Look for example, Barbados invented the road tennis, and by the way, they are still fighting to get it to be recognized, internationally recognized in terms of whether it's Commonwealth, Olympics, whatever it is like that. But road tennis is a big sport in Barbados. It's a homegrown.
And funny, some of these games, even though it's not in the Olympics, a lot of these games are in the part of the Commonwealth.
Mhm.
A lot of these games is part of the Commonwealth as well. So, we definitely have to. I mean, recently I was speaking with someone. I expand with Jamaica. So we always hear Jamaica on the sprints and running and track and field. No, they got field. They got two medals. There will be a difference now, in terms of how they push certain things and giving other people the opportunity to say, hey, if we can get a medal, I can get one too. I can start training for shot put. I can start training for javelin discus because there's opportunities, right? So certainly that's something good.
Roger said it would be nice to see the master Edward Gilliam on the track. Go Gilliam, go! That boy was a beast. That Gilliam represented GBSS in the 800 and the 1500. Nigel is saying I'm looking for support. Okay, so he's a master who represented or has been representing Grenada. In fact, you see him in his
Yeah, in his outfit. Yeah,
there. But he says he's looking for support, and I'm certain that he is looking for support because he's preparing to represent Grenada in
yeah.
Masters tournament.
In the World Indoors in Gainesville, I think in
Yeah,
February or March. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Right. Ooh, so. All right. So that's
Yeah,
interesting.
figure
We'll
who
have
to
to
reach out
follow up
to
on it.
and how
We'll have to
to.
follow
Yeah.
up with Nigel. He says that, and he also says that anyone interested competing in World Masters can contact him as well. Okay, so that's a you can search him up on Facebook. Look for Nigel Spice, and you'll have all his contact information there. And if you're interested in, competing in World Masters, he's a veteran of World Masters, I should say. He has been competing for probably the past 10 years or so. So yeah, almost 10 years now. He has been in the run-ins, right? So anyone interested in competing in World Masters can contact him. Edwin Sam says paddleball is now taking away some of the traditional tennis players' audience. Paddleball, yes, that's true. I see, in fact, I see even in St. Lucia, for example, they have facilities now for just the paddleball,
Yeah.
And as you say, some of the traditional tennis players and the audience is becoming big now. So even that, as we say, so what we see now, how do we try to, I don't know if it's to create a marriage or whatever, but how do we embrace all these, new iterations,
Difference. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because at one point in time, we didn't, we were fearful about AI. Now AI is everything, right? Artificial intelligence in your vehicle, in this and that, they're using it for all sorts of things now. And we have been very fearful and very cautious about AI. But now we're seeing more likely than not, AI is the future. Likewise, I'm saying regarding these other sports and things like that. So gone are the days
Is
where
it
you just embrace the football, the track and field, the traditional sports. Now we're seeing all these other iterations are coming into, and people are gravitating towards some of these. We are seeing large crowds, for some of these things. The big crowd for football and cricket and things, gone are those days. Gone are those days. You're seeing people are gravitating towards other sports. So that is
but
very important.
is it wise? But I mean, I'm gonna say it, wise or not, to start seeing a younger, fearful generation start coming in and getting involved and getting those positions that is there right now, where those who are there is, they plug onto the ordinary, or the of what we have. They're okay with what we have because it's what they know. And I think a change of mind do help. And I think you see young people coming into places and doing some things and making decisions in some of these countries we talk about. Is not the those that's been there, because those have been there, they are comfortable with what they have now. But you see, when the young people coming in, they mind expand to a lot of these things
Yeah,
that there is now. And I think it is time for us to start seeing a younger mind of leaders in those positions
real.
in Grenada.
Yeah, I understand that. And another example is, like, for example, more of our young people, as you see, are now exposed to a lot of
Yeah,
things, whether on social media in particular.
yeah,
They are going to more of them are going to universities and things like that, being
yeah.
exposed to a lot of
There's
things.
exposed to those
So they
things. Yeah,
return in some instances with a broader, mindset,
yeah,
right? So they're more exposed to a lot of these activities, these sporting events that we talk about.
yeah. We were
You
talking
know,
about, yeah,
yeah. In fact, you can go to um, consider yourself as someone who lived in Grenada for most of your life at well, at that time, and at
yeah,
20, 21, 22, let's say 23, you migrated to the US or Canada, wherever, overseas to study, right? And for that 4 or 5 years, whatever it takes you, you've never seen
certain
cricket.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like cricket, let's say cricket, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? Except on television.
Yeah.
Unlike when you're in the Caribbean, you probably can see cricket at any point in time, playing cricket, whatever it is, being engaged, a spectator, a player, whatever it is. But for that 4 or 5 years, never. What you have been exposed to? Baseball,
Yeah.
American football, golf, basketball, volleyball,
Tennis. Yeah.
lacrosse, a wide range of
A
sporting
wide
events.
range of
It
sports. Yeah.
means that on your return, you have a broader perspective in terms of
Yeah.
sports, and not
Sports.
just
And
football and cricket and track and field.
not only that too, there is a program called kinesiology, and I'm pretty sure you know about it.
Yeah,
That in kinesiology, you'll not only learn in one sport, you're going to get a level, I think up to level 3 of many sports, because most kinesiology, when they finish, not all, but most of them become coaches and they go and become physical education teachers. So they have the level 3 of at least 20 different sports.
Yeah.
And they have the level 3 coaching for all of those. So it certainly is something that it is time I will see us expanding, if it is only on a local base for now, but getting the people, like we said, the sports council has to be with not just athletics, but Grenadians. So that means every Grenadians have the opportunity to stay fit, be educated be a part of the sports policy as well. Like we said, now we have one Grenadian is looking to look for others for masters.
By the
How
way,
many Grenadians in Grenada knows about masters in
he
that?
says the
Not
World
much.
Indoors is actually March 23rd to the 30th
Yeah,
in
in
Gainesville,
Gainesville, in
Florida.
Florida. Yeah,
In Florida,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
As we get ready to wrap up there, Chenny, it says, Mike and Rudian, what's your views on the absence of mainstream sports journalism in Grenada, the absence of live broadcasts in local sports on a regular basis? Chenny, again, you prompting us for our
Sports
final
bar.
program, because we hoping to cover a lot of
to
these things.
cover a lot of these things. Yeah.
Hopefully get to cover it. We'll use a period of time to deal with that. But certainly these are things we want to speak about. And where are we with the swimming pool for Grenada? Can any of you guys update us on the status? That's something from the ministry to probably
To
give us
update us
about.
on. I
Yeah.
have asked about it, but I haven't heard anything. So.
And then
The Indo netball. Or multiple. It doesn't have to be netball only. It could be basketball too. But the indoor.
Only this week, myself and I think two others, we had a discussion regarding the multi sport facility, multi-purpose facility, an indoor facility, because we were discussing the issue. I think it was basketball, netball, some of those sports, right? And we were saying that how much an indoor facility. Okay, we were even looking at the I think it's the court in Grandin, so Woburn, or one of those new courts that they opening or about to open or whatever, some tournament. And then some were commenting about whether the weather, I mean, as bright as it looks in terms of colorful blue and blah blah blah, and and all this well painted and things like that. So it's weather permitting, right? And we say, while that is commendable, and we thank them for that, I think it's time that we put a little investment into a multi-purpose sporting facility, indoor facility, I should say, right? That can host some of these sporting disciplines.
But Michael, it's not only on that too, and I get that. But some of these courts could have a roof over it. Some of those places could literally have a roof over it, even if it's glass or whichever it is. But the plastic ones, the plastic, but a lot of those places could have a roof over it where you could still play even if it's raining. A lot of those places can do that.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Lincoln, thank you very much, Toro. And as we once again we extend
deepest condolences to you.
Toro, Clev, and
And his family. Yeah.
Family, and the passing of your mom. May she rest in peace. He says one of the good things with not seeing cricket is not enduring the repeated exposure to West Indies. Boys lose it to everybody except Bangladesh. Toro, you should start off by congratulating West Indies, right? For the clean sweep of Bangladesh in the 1 day. Come on. Congratulate your boys. I'm giving you, Toro, remember, 2025 is the year for our prodigal sons and daughters. That is the year, the opportunity for you to return to West Indies, right? 2025 is the year. We'll have Australia, we'll have all these strong teams coming. Here is your opportunity to rebound with the boys. Okay, I'm giving you that early warning. 2025 is your year. All prodigal sons and daughters are welcome back into the fold. West Indies cricket on the rise. All right. Roger says, I'm thinking a centralized procurement for sport uniforms can drive costs down for both primary and secondary schools. We all know the sporting calendar. We just need a body to coordinate the orders from all schools and make one large purchase. Government can waive duties for purchases made within the CARICOM and set the school duties if the purchase is made outside of CARICOM. If the purchase can be made locally, waive the VAT. And probably
and the same thing goes for school uniform. The same concept. If school uniform could be making one central or under one central company.
And it's something that is going to be an industry for a local industry. Getting involved in
something like that.
So uniforms, you know how many schools we have. We know their uniforms. There's nothing wrong in an industry in making those uniforms and things like that. So
then you expense to
not just uniforms, not just uniforms for schools, but you can even go to clubs, the corporate businesses,
businesses. They can get their own stuff.
You are making uniform. You're a uniform, maker, whatever you want to call it.
Right? For whatever it is.
For whatever it is, you go to those folks and you give them
do
design,
it for you,
or they can create designs and they can do it for you. What's about that? Let's he says, it's my hope that all sporting stakeholders tune in to Let's Talk Sports. A lot of your work is done here. Thanks, gentlemen, from Gordon Boney. Congratulating one weak team for beating another weak team. No, Turo. That's not it. All right. Anyone interested in Masters in Grenada can also contact Nigel is saying can contact Goatie. Them boys afraid white man teams, they could only beat black and brown teams. All right. No. But on a serious note, folks, come
next
our program next week. We again, just to repeat, we'll be putting a wrap on our program for 2024. We're looking at the highs and lows, 2024 sports in Grenada. Right? We look at some of our successes, some of our failures. We also look at what we can look forward to in 2025. Right? We also try to get from you what are your views in terms of some of the sports personalities for 2024.
And also what you would like to see in 2025.
What you would like to see in 2025. But our sports personalities like sportsmen, sportswomen, administrators, clubs, teams, schools, sporting associations, name it. Who you think? Start thinking about that. Who you think were our top sports personalities for 2024, right? And again, as we say, looking forward to 2025. What are some of the things you would like to see for 2025 as regard to sports? Start putting together. I know Chenny is talking about the sports bar, and things like that. So, Roger, I think you set up
sports bar. That's what it is. Talk sports bar.
Roger, you set up something there that I hope you and Chenny can deliver. Right? Rudian and I will be the virtual patrons, right? We may be able to make orders and things from overseas, right? But physically, you guys in Grenada, you guys have to come together with that. I think it's a brilliant idea. And even the Friday night Boxermania, for example,
it's a good idea. Yeah,
it's another good idea. Something we have been discussing for years now. Chenny knows that, and I think during his tenure, he tried it, even though he got a lot of licks for it. It was our Boxing Day classic. You know, and I know that Boxing Day is a big day for sports. For some, it's a lot to do with family and beach and things like that. So, but in many parts of the Caribbean, for example, I can tell you, Boxing Day, horse racing. In some places now, it's motor racing, but horse racing is big on Boxing Day in some Caribbean countries. And we know it's a big sports day in Canada, in North America in particular, right? Yes, they play a lot of sports on Christmas Day, mind you. More or less the afternoon, evening time.
Yeah.
Like the Christmas classic.
I think they have that Boxing Day, Canada versus the US in hockey. If it's a
something like
junior
that.
or something like that, I
Yeah,
think something like that is always huge, huge. Yeah,
but it was something Chenny and I discussed many years ago. Chenny tried to bring it in, and I think with the football and things, we wanted something like a Boxing Day Classic. That's what we term it as. And we'll decide how do you whether you take the top team from this one and the top team from that, and every year it will probably be different teams, something like that. So, well,
yeah,
so for example, on Boxing Day, you have a Boxing Day Classic with Paradise versus some other team, something like that,
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
It could be
But
different sports too. It could be
uh,
netball.
well, no, I'm just saying we are
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
football at the time,
Football
right?
at the time. Yeah,
But you
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
look forward to something on Boxing Day as a major
yeah.
sporting event. Chenny is saying, by the way, before I say Chenny is saying, let me tell you that Roger is saying, let's talk
Let's talk
Chenny.
training.
Chenny and Roger, please talk, right?
Have
Please talk.
lunch.
Please talk. Please talk about Talk Sports. Talk Sports Bar. Chenny says it's still practical and possible. Boxing Day Sports Mania, right?
Yep,
Boxing Day Sports Mania, whatever it is. Like as you say, Sports Mania will be different sports, whatever it
different
is.
sports. Yep.
But there's nothing wrong in having, as we say, as we call it then, a Boxing Day Classic, right? And I'm still thinking it's
But imagine
something we can
if
do.
we expand. Imagine hearing a Boxing Day Classic with two high schools.
Mhm.
Think about that. Two high schools, two schools coming together, playing, doing a boxing day. Just we see it up here in football in the universities.
Mhm.
They have the Boxing Day Classic too. But,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
All right, folks. So once again, thank you very much. Apologies once again for our guests not being able to be with us. But
we'll get him on. Yeah.
yeah, but we're very packed. I'm telling you, we're very packed for next year, God's willing. January is when we resume. As we said, we're starting off with our sports policy and all these sort of things together. Then by the time budget comes around, we have to deal with budget.
Deal with budget. Yeah.
Boxing already indicated an interest in being on our program, and we have one or two folks who said that they will try to be on our program. Mr. Mike Sands, also the president of NACAC, promised to also be on our program because they're very important events for 2025, right?
25.
And
Yes, there is.
yeah,
Yep.
he wanted to speak to us about it. He always finds home with Talk Sports to share his plans and things like that. So,
Yep. Yep.
at
Yep.
some point we have Mr. Mike Sands there. These are dates we just have to finalize because he already said that he will be speaking to us, right? Then the Cricket Association, they have a new executive, and their plans also to have them on our program. We haven't had cricket for quite a while since Dwayne Gill has left, but we hoping to have cricket with us, and some of the other sports no doubt will be with us, hopefully in the new year. And as I indicated also, there some plans for the minister, the sports minister, to be with us to talk about the plans for sports at that level, because remember it's also budget. Yeah, the delayed budget will be in the new year, so by
Yeah.
then minister will be able to give us an update as to
A little bit on
what
what's
is,
happening, where
yeah,
they
what's
at,
happening.
as it
Yeah,
move.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Some final words from you, Rudian.
No, most definitely, it was certainly a good program. Once more, I'm looking forward to next week, and then
Yeah, yeah,
I
certainly.
think
Yeah,
it's going to be really good. Guys, remember, come with your ideas in terms of what you think of the sportsmen, women, schools, and
try
ancestral
be be
for
um
next year.
be ambitious as Shady and Roger. Be ambitious as Shady and Roger. Yeah,
Yeah. So certainly, thanks again for having us, and certainly to everyone. So Mr. Deputy, again, our deepest condolences
yeah. And
to you
let
and the
me
family.
let me
So
let
yeah,
me use the opportunity also to congratulate Paradise FC, because last Saturday,
yes,
as you remember, they won
the
the
one. Yeah,
rugby
yes, they did. Yes, they did.
tournament. For they are probably well, we can say that now. I mean, there's no doubt they're probably the team of the year,
Yeah.
but still, we want to hear who some of your thoughts regarding those various outstanding teams and clubs, and and I say teams because you have teams, and then what you think about clubs,
players, people to look
organized
out for,
clubs, and things like
so
that. Clubs.
yeah,
We want to focus also on clubs, not just teams.
yeah,
But we also look at clubs, we look at associations, and you think about what they have been doing, their accomplishments and all of that. 2024, the year 2024, not 5 years and 10 years ago. What they have done for the year under review, which is 2024.
2024. Yeah.
The personalities, the sports personalities, male, female, junior, schools, name it. Who you think deserving of some sort of recognition as a top personality in sports for 2024? And as we said, what are some of your expectations for 2025? Okay. Thank you very much, Rudy.
It's a pleasure. All right. Yeah. Until we meet again.
Right. Thank you very much. That's Rudy and Sylvan, live from Toronto, Canada, giving us an update. Right. And yes, and Roger Citoro and Claire, from my family to yours, please accept our deepest condolences. And for all of those who've been part of our program for the year, please, your final opportunity come next Saturday, God's willing. We are just discussing. No guests, we're just discussing. So all your ideas, whatever it is, throw it up on the screen and hear what folks have to say and things like that. So thank you very much once again for being part of our program. We look forward to seeing you come, next week, God's willing, same time, around 11 o'clock. Yes, don't forget, it's 11 a.m., which is 12 noon your time, okay? Let me see one final comment there. So, they will be speaking about the Masters in various, hopefully in 2025, Grenada Masters athletes in various competitions. Certainly, that's things we can talk about, Nigel, in our next week's program, because next week we'll be looking at, holistic and looking at some of the things for 2025. Until then, you have a pleasant weekend. Always remember, whatever you're doing, do it with some level of moderation. Take care. God's willing.